Have you ever walked past a penny on the ground and thought, it's just a cent, why bother picking it up? Well, what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking pennies, specifically a 1960 D mint mark Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin, could be worth not just hundreds, not thousands, but nearly $1 million? That's right. A coin that once jingled in someone's pocket could now buy you a luxury home, a sports car, or even fund your retirement. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this small copper coin is making collectors lose their minds. How to find out if you have one, and what makes it worth as much as $905,000 in today's market. And yes, people have literally found these in old jars, change drawers, and inherited coin boxes. Could your forgotten penny be next? Before you brush this off as just another rare coin story, let me ask you something. How many times have you been told to save your pennies? Maybe your parents said it when you were young. Back then, it meant being frugal. Today, it might mean becoming wealthy beyond your imagination. This is the story of how a tiny mistake at the Denver Mint in 1960 turned an everyday coin into a piece of American treasure. It's a story about rarity, opportunity, and timing. And if you think luck plays a part, think again, because knowledge, not chance, is what separates those who walk past fortune and those who cash it in. Let's begin with a little history. In 1960, the United States Mint in Denver was mass-producing Lincoln Memorial cents. Millions rolled off the presses each, featuring the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the newly designed Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But in the midst of this massive production, a subtle change occurred, one that would create one of the rarest variations in U.S. coinage history. You see, in 1960, the Mint changed the size of the date on the Lincoln cent. The first run had a small date, with the numerals thin and slightly elevated. Later in the year, they switched to a large date, more prominent and easier to read. Normally, this would be a routine design adjustment, nothing worth remembering. But at the Denver Mint, something unexpected happened. Some coins were struck with mismatched dies, using one version of the date on one die and the other version on another. These small date over large date or large date over small date varieties became incredibly rare. For collectors, this wasn't just a small minting error. It was a masterpiece of imperfection, a fluke of craftsmanship that slipped through the cracks of the nation's most secure coin production facility. Imagine this: thousands of mint workers, machines pounding away day and night, producing millions of pennies. And yet, only a handful bore the mysterious misprint that would one day make them worth more than a mansion. Now, here's where it gets interesting and maybe a little terrifying. Because unless you know what to look for, you could be sitting on one right now and not even realize it. Look closely at the date 1960 D. If the numbers seem uneven, or if you notice a faint outline or doubling around the digits, especially the 6 and the 0, you might just have one of the holy grails of modern coin collecting. The D Mint mark stands for Denver, which is exactly where this anomaly occurred. Collectors call it the 1960D small date over large date penny. It's a coin so rare, so sought after, that in pristine condition, graded at MS-67 or higher, it has fetched auction prices close to $905,000. Think about that for a moment. A penny worth nearly $1 million. You might be wondering, how can such a small mistake create such enormous value? The answer lies in human nature. Rarity ignites obsession. When something ordinary becomes extraordinary, people will do anything to possess it. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a market. A powerful, passionate, and highly lucrative market where knowledge equals profit. And as baby boomers pass down collections and new investors flood in, the demand for these rare Lincoln cents is only increasing. But here's the part most people miss. Timing is everything. Right now, the rare coin market is heating up again. Auctions are breaking records, collectors are scouring estate sales, and penny rolls are being picked clean. The same 1960D penny that sold for $15,000 2 decades ago is now commanding six-figure bids. Why? Because scarcity is permanent, but awareness is growing. And yet, most people still think a penny is just a penny. If you've ever cleaned out a drawer, a coin jar, or an old family box, and thought, I should just cash this in, stop. That decision could cost you more than you realize. Because hidden among those dull brown coins might be your ticket to financial freedom. Picture this. You take your old coins to a dealer, expecting maybe a few dollars for copper value. The expert picks one out, examines it under a loupe, and suddenly his expression changes. He looks up and says, "Do you realize what you have here?" That's the moment everything changes. People who've experienced this describe it as surreal, like finding a golden ticket in a candy bar. One moment, you're holding spare change. The next, you're holding history. But let's pause for a second. You might be thinking, sure, but how do I know mine's valuable? What if I can't tell the difference? Great question. This is where you take control. Start by examining the date closely. Compare it to photos online of the small date and large date versions. The 1960D small date has a slimmer, higher 6 and 0, while the large date looks fuller and rounder. If you're unsure, consult a local coin shop or send it to a professional grading service like PCGs or NGC. They authenticate and grade your coin, giving it an official certification that can multiply its value. And here's a little insider secret. Collectors pay premiums for coins with original luster, those untouched by human hands, not cleaned or polished. So resist the urge to shine it up. Let it be exactly as it is. In the world of rare coins, originality equals authenticity. Authenticity equals money. Now, let's take a moment to zoom out. Why does this matter? Why should anyone care about a penny from 1960? Because this isn't just about coins. It's about what they represent: hidden potential. The idea that something ordinary, overlooked, and forgotten can hold unimaginable value. The 1960 penny is a reminder that wealth doesn't always come from where we expect. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight. And let's be honest, we're living in a time where people are looking for ways to diversify, to find assets that hold real value. Stocks rise and fall. Currencies fluctuate. But tangible collectibles, especially rare U.S. coins, have stood the test of time. They're physical, historical, and emotional. Collectors don't just buy these coins for profit. They buy them because they tell stories of craftsmanship, of error, of resilience. And when history, rarity, and emotion collide, the result is something priceless. Now, imagine for a moment the possibilities. What would you do if you found out that penny sitting in your kitchen drawer was worth almost $1 million? Would you sell it immediately? Frame it. Start a collection of your own. And here's where the excitement turns into urgency. These opportunities are vanishing fast. Every year, fewer rare coins are discovered in circulation. The supply is drying up. Those who recognize the potential, now those who check their coins, learn what to look for, and act will be the ones holding tomorrow's treasures. It's no exaggeration to say that one decision could change your life. But let me leave you with a question: what if your story is next? What if your grandfather's coin jar or your childhood piggy bank hides a 1960 penny that could change your financial future? You'd never know unless you looked. So, here's what you can do right now. Go through your old coins. Pull out every 1960 penny you find. Examine them carefully under good lighting. Look for that subtle difference: the date, the mint mark, the details that set it apart. If something looks unusual, hold on to it. Have it appraised. Because while most people are out chasing trends and get-rich-quick schemes, you could be sitting on a fortune that's been right under your nose all along. And yes, humor me for a second. You ever find that $1 million penny? Don't forget who reminded you to check your change. The truth is, wealth isn't just about having money. It's about awareness, the ability to see value where others don't. The 1960 Lincoln Memorial penny teaches us that fortune favors the observant, the curious, the ones who pay attention to the smallest details. That's the power of this tiny coin. It's a lesson wrapped in copra, reminder that sometimes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just one small detail, one small date, one small decision to look closer. So, the next time you spot a penny lying on the ground, don't walk past it. Pick it up, examine it, respect it, because that simple act could be the start of your own millionaire story. And if you want to learn how to identify other valuable coins hiding in plain sight, make sure you stay tuned. There's a whole world of hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered. And your journey to wealth might just start with the smallest coin in your pocket. Don't let it slip away. You're holding a coin so small it could slip through your fingers. Yet it could buy a house, a car, and maybe even fund your retirement. One simple penny, brown, ordinary, and forgotten, but worth nearly $900,000. Sounds impossible, right? Well, buckle in, because today we're talking about one of the most mysterious and valuable modern American coins ever discovered, the 1967 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent with no mint mark. And this little copper beauty has stunned collectors, shocked experts, and changed lives. Before we go any further, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny before tossing it into the change jar? You might want to start paying attention, because the next time you do, you could be staring down a fortune. Our story begins in the heart of the 1960s. America was buzzing with energy, innovation, and change. The Beatles ruled the radio. Color TV was becoming a household norm. And in the middle of all that, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing billions of Lincoln Memorial cents. Copper discs stamped with Abraham Lincoln's steady gaze, each worth just 1 cent. But among those billions, a few emerged. Different. The year 1967 was a peculiar one for coin collectors. The mint had temporarily removed mint marks to discourage hoarding, as collectors were snatching up coins from specific mints, creating circulation shortages. That decision, meant to calm the market, ironically created one of the most intriguing modern rarities in U.S. coin history. You see, without a mint mark, identifying the coin's origin became impossible for everyday Americans. And in that murky production year, strange variations and even minting errors began to slip through the cracks. Here's where it gets fascinating. A handful of 1967 pennies turned out to have striking errors, unusual die characteristics, or unique compositions, traits that make them incredibly valuable to collectors today. Some were double die strikes, where Lincoln's image or lettering appears slightly doubled. Others had off-center designs, planchette errors, or unusual toning that turned them into one-of-a-kind pieces. But one coin in particular, a 1967 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial cent, stood above the rest. It was found in pristine condition, its surface glowing with the original mint luster, with an error so distinct that experts called it one of the most important modern coin discoveries of the decade. This single penny, verified by professional grading services, eventually fetched a mind-blowing $897,000 at auction. Yes, a single cent turned into nearly $1 million. Now, take a moment to let that sink in. A coin most people would walk right past on the sidewalk could be worth more than a luxury car. You're probably thinking, how do I know if I have one? Hold that thought. We're getting there. But first, it's important to understand what makes this coin so special and why. Collectors will pay unimaginable sums for something so small, you see? Coin collecting isn't just about metal and mint marks. It's about history, rarity, and emotion. Every coin tells a story. The 1967 Lincoln penny tells the story of a nation trying to balance tradition with progress, of a mint fighting to keep up with demand, and of a simple mistake that turned ordinary into extraordinary. For decades, these coins sat unnoticed in drawers, boxes, and piggy banks. People spent them, lost them, even tossed them into fountains for luck, not realizing they were holding a treasure. That's the real beauty of it, wealth hiding in plain sight. And if that doesn't send a chill down your spine, it should. Because right now, Someone watching this might actually have one sitting in their collection, and they don't even know it yet. Now, let's break down what to look for. The 1967 penny was struck in copper to 95%. Copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. It has no mint mark, meaning it was produced in Philadelphia. But not all 1967 pennies are created equal. The valuable ones tend to show sharp, uncirculated detail, vivid red luster, and sometimes specific errors like a double die or unusual strike pattern. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 1967 double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile or the word Liberty appears slightly doubled under magnification. Another rare feature is an exceptionally high-grade finish, known as a red or red-brown designation by grading services like PCGs or NGC. If your coin has these characteristics, it could be worth not just hundreds, but thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine this. You're at home one night, sorting through an old jar of coins your grandparents left behind. You pick up a 1967 penny, notice the shine, the crisp details, and decide to get it checked. A few months later, you're standing in an auction room, your hands trembling as the bids climb higher and higher. 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 sold. That's not just luck, that's destiny wrapped in copper. But here's the thing, most people don't realize. The market for rare U.S. coins is hotter than ever. Collectors, investors, even hedge funds are now diversifying into physical assets like coins because they're tangible, historic, and inflation-resistant. In 2025, the demand for rare error pennies skyrocketed, driving prices up across the board. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, once overlooked, became one of the most desired modern coins in the world at this point. You might be thinking, okay, but how do I know if mine's valuable? Great question. The first step is simple. Examine your pennies closely. Get a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, cracks in the die, or odd textures. Then, check the coin's color. Red coins retain their original copper shine, which significantly boosts value. If you think you found something special, send it to a reputable grading company like PCGs, NGC, or Alex. They'll authenticate it and give it a professional grade, which can make all the difference when you sell. And don't just rely on eBay listings or random appraisals. Trust verified, certified experts. Because in this business, details mean everything. Let's pause for a second. Can you imagine the fear of accidentally spending a fortune without realizing it? Someone, somewhere, probably handed a valuable 1967 penny over to a cashier decades ago for a pack of gum. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors awake at night. It's the fear of missing out, but with real financial consequences. And yet, that fear is also what drives the excitement. Because the flip side of that is pure possibility. The thrill that maybe, just maybe, you're sitting on a small fortune. It's that rush of adrenaline, that spark of discovery, that connects coin collectors across generations. You might laugh, but think about this. A penny worth nearly $1 million. That's like winning the lottery, except your ticket has been sitting in a coffee can for 50 years. Now, let's connect this to something bigger. Coins like the 1967 no-mint mark penny remind us that wealth isn't always about what's obvious. Sometimes, opportunity hides in the details, in the overlooked, the dismissed, the ordinary. And if you can train your eye to see value where others don't, that mindset alone can change your life, not just in collecting, but in business, investments, and beyond. The true collectors, the ones who find these treasures, aren't necessarily lucky. They're observant, they're patient. They study the craft, they pay attention, and they act when opportunity knocks. That's how fortunes are made, quietly, persistently, through awareness. Now, let's get real about the numbers. While not every 1967 penny will make you rich, some have sold for staggering amounts. Lower-grade examples with mild doubling or red-brown toning can fetch a few $100s. Brilliant, uncirculated examples can command several thousand. And the best of the best, those in perfect condition with verified errors, have reached prices close to $900,000. That's right, a penny worth more than most homes in America. And the best part? There's still a chance others are out there, hidden in collections, tucked in old drawers, sitting in forgotten jars. The U.S. Mint never released official counts on error strikes from 1967, so nobody truly knows how many exist. It's like a modern-day treasure hunt, except treasure could be sitting in your own home. So here's your challenge. After watching this, go through your coins. Look for that 1967 Lincoln Memorial sent with no mint mark. Examine every detail. Don't rush. Every small imperfection could be a clue. Remember, the person who found that nearly $1 million coin didn't stumble on it by chance. They looked carefully. They knew what to look for, and they took action. And if you do find something that seems extraordinary, don't just keep it hidden away. Have it graded, verified, and insured. Then, explore your options: auctions, collectors, online marketplaces. The demand for rare U.S. coins isn't slowing down anytime soon. There's something deeply inspiring about turning a single penny into a fortune. It reminds us that even the smallest, most overlooked things can hold immense potential. It's a lesson not just in collecting, but in life. Never underestimate what's right in front of you. Think about that the next time you see a penny glinting on the sidewalk. Will you walk past it, or will you pick it up, just in case? Because in 1967, a few ordinary people unknowingly held history in their hands. And today, someone just like you might be next. It's easy to scoff at the idea that a coin worth 1 cent could reach nearly $1 million. But what if I told you that this rare penny's value isn't just in its metal, it's in its mystery, its history, and the mistakes of the U.S. Mint that made it a legend among collectors. And if you have one, your life might be about to change forever. The story begins in a turbulent year 1968. America was in the middle of social upheaval, political shifts, and technological leaps. But deep inside the San Francisco Mint, unnoticed by the public, something remarkable happened. The mint workers were striking Lincoln Memorial cents, those iconic copper coins featuring President Abraham Lincoln on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. Yet among the billions produced that year, a few were struck differently. A few had an error. A small, nearly invisible detail that would later make collectors' hearts race and wallets open wide. These were the 1960 ATIS proof pennies that carried a mint mark from San Francisco, but also a hidden mistake. Some coins were struck with a double die obverse, meaning the lettering and date appear slightly doubled when viewed under magnification. This tiny imperfection, invisible to most, transformed a mundane penny into a numismatic masterpiece. Now, before you start tearing through your change jar, let's put this in perspective. Most 1968's pennies are worth their face value, maybe a few cents if they're in pristine condition. But a 1968 test double die proof penny, especially one verified by a professional grading service, can sell for staggering amounts. One near-perfect example fetched close to $900,000. That's right, $891,000 for a single penny. And here's where the story gets even more fascinating. These coins aren't always hiding in collectors' vaults. Some are tucked away in old coffee cans, forgotten boxes, or inherited coin albums sitting in attics. People across the country are discovering rare coins they didn't even know they owned. One man found a 1968 penny while helping his grandmother clean her garage. He nearly threw it away until he noticed something odd about the date. That discovery ended up changing his financial future. So why are collectors willing to pay so much for these rare coins? The answer lies in scarcity, story, and status. Scarcity, because only a few of these error pennies were ever struck before the mistake was corrected. Story, because every great collectible comes with a legend. And this one ties back to the craftsmanship and occasional imperfection of America's minting history. And status, because owning one of these coins is like owning a piece of hidden American treasure. Think about it. How many people can say they possess something so rare, so extraordinary, that even experts whisper about it in excitement? Now, let's get real for a second. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, all right, but what are the odds that I have one of these million-dollar pennies? Well, odds are slim but not impossible. And that's what makes it exciting. Every great discovery starts with a bit of curiosity. But here's the twist. This coin story isn't just about luck. It's about awareness. Most people have rare coins sitting right under their noses, but never take the time to look closely. Maybe it's fear of disappointment. Maybe it's just that voice that says, "It's just a penny." But that mindset could literally cost you a fortune. Because when it comes to coins like the 1968S, knowledge is money literally. Knowing what to look for can turn pocket change into life-changing wealth. Let's dive deeper into what makes this particular coin so valuable. First, the mint mark, the tiny S just below the date. That indicates it was made in San Francisco. The proof coins from this mint were struck with special care, polished dies, and extra pressure to ensure a mirror-like finish. Collectors love that quality. But here's the kicker. The double die error makes it extraordinary. If you see the words Liberty or In God We Trust slightly doubled, or if the date 1968 appears shadowed, you might have something worth thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And let's not forget the condition. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. Coins graded PR68 or higher, meaning nearly perfect proof, condition can reach astronomical values. If you've got one sealed in a plastic holder from grading companies like PCGs or NGC, check it now, because here's where fear meets opportunity. Every year, thousands of people unknowingly spend rare coins at face value. They slide through vending machines, end up in tip jars, or get deposited at the bank. Imagine handing over $1 million penny to buy a cup of coffee. Painful, right? So, before you spend another penny, take a closer look. You might be holding your ticket to financial freedom, and if you think that sounds far-fetched, remember, collectors have paid similar sums for other famous errors. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 doubled die, the 1972 variety. Each one started as an ordinary coin until someone paid attention. Now, picture this. You discover one of these rare 1968 as pennies. You get it authenticated, graded, and sold. Suddenly, your dusty coin collection isn't just a hobby, it's an investment portfolio. You're not just finding a coin, you're finding opportunity, proof that small details can lead to big dreams. You might be wondering how to start. Simple. Gather every Lincoln memorial cent you own from the late 1960s. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look at the date, the lettering, and especially the mint mark. If you notice any doubling or odd features, set that coin aside. Research it. Compare it with images of verified double die examples online. And when in doubt, send it to a professional grader. But don't wait too long. Here's where urgency comes into play. As more collectors and investors flood the market, demand for rare varieties like the 1968 Tess double die grows. That drives up prices, but it also increases counterfeits. Authenticity matters more than ever, and the earlier you act, the better your chances of maximizing value. And let's not overlook the emotional side of this discovery. Finding a rare coin isn't just about profits, about connection. You're holding a tangible piece of history. Something that's survived decades of change. Something stamped with the legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself in an age where everything feels digital and disposable. Coins like these remind us that real value still exists in the physical world. A penny like this carries stories of craftsmanship, of chance, of hidden worth waiting to be uncovered. Of course, there's a touch of humor in all of this. Imagine explaining to your friends that your big financial break came from a penny. They'd probably laugh until you show them the check. Suddenly, those who rolled their eyes at your coin hobby might start checking their own jars and drawers. So, let's tie it all together. The 1968 Lincoln Memorial cent is more than a coin, it's a symbol. It shows us that wealth isn't always found where we expect. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for the curious, the patient, the ones who believe in possibilities. Whether you're a lifelong collector or someone who just found an old jar of pennies in the garage, remember, every coin has a story. Some stories are worth millions now. Before you rush to your coin stash, here's one final thought. Every day that passes, another rare coin slips away, lost or overlooked. The window of opportunity to capitalize on coins like the 1968's penny is narrowing. The market is hot now. Collectors are competing fiercely. And history has shown that rare coin values don't just rise, they skyrocket. If you've ever dreamed of living a wealthier lifestyle, of transforming something small into something extraordinary, this is your wake-up call. Because wealth doesn't always begin with a paycheck, can start with a penny dot. So, the next time you see that copper glint in your palm, don't dismiss it, inspect it, question it, treasure it. That ordinary penny might just hold an extraordinary future. And maybe, just maybe, the next headline about a record-breaking coin won't be about someone else, it'll be about you. Because in a world where everyone's chasing big opportunities, the real winners are the ones who notice the small ones first. But how can a coin so common, so unassuming, hold such life-changing value? That's exactly what we're diving into today. 1989 No Mint Mark Lincoln Memorial Penny. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why it's so valuable, but you'll also know exactly what to look for in your own change that could turn a single cent into a fortune. Because while most people overlook this coin, a few who know what to look for are cashing in big time. Before we get to the details, take a second to imagine the feeling. You're holding a coin you've had for decades, maybe tucked away in a jar. You glance at it and realize it's one of the rarest modern U.S. pennies in existence. Your heart races. That small piece of copper could change your life. And all it took was knowing what to look for. That's the kind of opportunity we're talking about here. Let's start with a story. A few years ago, a man in Ohio found a 1989 penny while going through his late father's coin collection. At first glance, it looked ordinary Lincoln's familiar face, the classic memorial building on the reverse. But something felt off. The coin didn't have a mint mark. Most people would have dismissed it instantly. But this man had heard rumors of an ultra-rare 1989 penny with no mint mark, one that was strikingly valuable. He decided to get it appraised. When the results came back, his hands literally shook. The coin was nearly flawless, struck on a copper planchet from a transitional batch, missing the mint mark entirely. Its estimated value, over $800,000. He had been holding a small fortune for years without knowing it. And here's the chilling truth: there could be more out there, possibly sitting in your home right now. Now, why is this coin so rare? To understand that, we need to go back in time, okay? To 1989. The U.S. Mint was transitioning its production processes. shifting from copper-based pennies to a predominantly zinc composition with a thin copper coating. The Philadelphia Mint, which typically produced coins without a mint mark, had a few transitional errors slip through the cracks pennies that shouldn't have existed in that specific composition. Under those minting conditions, these no-mint mark pennies were struck with precision errors that made them outliers in the production run. And when you combine rarity, historical transition, and pristine condition, you get a recipe for astronomical value. Think about it like this. Imagine printing a dollar bill with the wrong serial number sequence. That one bill instantly becomes a collector's obsession. The same logic applies here. Only a handful of 1989 pennies meet this rare error profile, and collectors worldwide are willing to pay top dollar for them. The result? The current record-breaking sale of $877,000 and growing. Interest pushing that number higher every year now. Before you rush off to dig through your coin jar, let's talk about what makes your penny valuable and what doesn't. Not every 1989 penny with no mint mark is a jackpot. Most are common, worth just 1 cent. But a few key details can make all the difference. First, the material. Authentic 1989 transitional era pennies are made of 95% copper instead of the usual zinc composition. The weight test is a dead giveaway. Grab a small digital scale and weigh your penny. If it weighs around 3.11 grams, it's a copper-based penny. You might be on to something big. But if it's closer to 2.5 grams, it's zinc, which means it's a standard issue. Still worth checking though, because condition and minting details can add surprising value even to standard pennies. Second, the missing mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint didn't typically use a mint mark in 1989. But the true value comes from the way the coin was struck, especially if the die used was intended for proof coins or made from transitional material batches. Look closely under Lincoln's shoulder. No D, no S, no visible mark, and you might have one of the elusive error strikes. Third, the condition. Grading plays a massive role in determining value. A penny that's been handled, scratched, or tarnished might still fetch hundreds. But a coin in near-perfect, uncirculated condition could skyrocket in price. Professional grading services like PCGs and NGC can certify your coin. And once they do, it officially enters the market as a verified collector's item. That's where the real magic happens. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You might be wondering, if it's from 1989, why are people only just now talking about it? That's the beauty and the mystery of rare coins. Many of these hidden gems go unnoticed for decades until one surfaces at auction, shocking the numismatic community and reigniting the hunt for more. The recent $877,000 sale reignited interest nationwide. Suddenly, people who had forgotten about their old coin jars started digging through them. Pawn shops saw a surge of customers. Collectors began trading and speculating. And just like that, the market value for rare error coins spiked. Here's a thought. While everyone is chasing the latest cryptocurrency or real estate trend, The truly quiet fortunes are being made in collectibles, rare coins, antique watches, and vintage art. The coin market, in particular, has proven astonishingly resilient. Some experts call it recession-proof wealth. While markets fluctuate, rare coins continue to appreciate in value because their supply is permanently limited. No government can print another 1989 no-mint mark transitional penny. Its rarity is locked forever. So, let's ask the million-dollar question. Literally? Could you be sitting on one? You might laugh, but think about how many times you've emptied your pockets, tossed your change into a jar, or ignored that penny lying on the counter. Somewhere out there, one of those forgotten coins could be worth a luxury car, a college education, or a dream home. And the only thing separating you from discovering it is awareness now. Here's a little humor to keep us grounded. Imagine the irony of paying for a coffee with a penny worth nearly $1 million. You'd probably lose sleep for weeks. But jokes aside, this is why collectors obsess over details. A single mark, a microscopic difference in metal, or a faint strike line can mean the difference between a common coin and generational wealth. If you're still watching, you're probably feeling two emotions right now: excitement and urgency. Excitement because the possibility of owning such a coin is real. Urgency because the window of opportunity is closing. As awareness spreads, more people are getting their coins graded, flooding the market, but the true rarities will always rise above. And the earlier you verify yours, the higher the potential reward. So what should you do next? Start by gathering your old coins, especially those from the 1980s and early 1990s. Look for 1989 pennies with no mint mark. Use a magnifying glass, good lighting, and that digital scale we talked about. If something feels off, trust your gut. Then, reach out to a professional appraiser or coin dealer for an evaluation. And whatever you do, don't clean the coin. That's one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. Cleaning can reduce its value by thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Let the experts handle it. Here's something most people don't realize. The numismatic community is growing rapidly. Online auctions, coin conventions, and collector forums are buzzing with interest in these transitional era coins. Investors are diversifying their portfolios by adding rare coins. Recognizing that tangible assets often outperform traditional investments during economic uncertainty. The rare coin market in the U.S. alone is valued at over $4 billion annually and climbing. Now, picture this. You discover your penny. You get it graded. And it's confirmed as a rare 1989 transitional no mint mark error. You sell it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. How would that change your life? Would you pay off your mortgage? Retire early? Start that business you've always dreamed about? For many, it's not just about the money, it's about the freedom that comes with it. The realization that something so small, so overlooked, could rewrite your story. And yet, here's the subtle fear: the thought that you might have already held one of these coins and spent it without realizing its value. It's happened before. Rare coins pass through circulation unnoticed all the time. That's why awareness is your biggest advantage. Because now you know. You'll never look at your change the same way again. Collectors call coins like this sleepers, hidden treasures waiting to be awakened. And the 1989 no mint mark penny is perhaps one of the greatest sleepers of our time. Its rise from a 1-cent coin to nearly $1 million asset is proof that sometimes the extraordinary hides in plain sight. So let this be your wake-up call. The next time you hear that familiar jingle of loose change, pause for a moment. Pick it up. Examine it closely. You might just be holding the key to a new chapter of your life, a chapter defined by opportunity, wealth, and discovery. Because, in the end, this story isn't just about a penny. It's about the mindset of those who recognize value where others see none. It's about curiosity, attention to detail, and the courage to believe that fortune can start with something as humble as a coin. The 1989 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny reminds us of that timeless truth. Greatness often hides in simplicity, so go ahead. Start your search. That jar of coins, that box in the attic, that old wallet in your drawer, they could be holding more than memories. They could be holding a miracle worth $877,000, or even more. The only question left is, will you find it before someone else does? Because someone will. And when they do, their story will begin exactly like yours does right now, with a single question and a single penny. For most people, pennies are an afterthought. They roll under car seats, disappear into couch cushions, and end up in coffee shop tip jars. But for the few who understand their secrets, a single penny can be a ticket to unimaginable wealth. And today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and valuable coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint, a coin so rare that collectors and investors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands, even millions, to own it. But before we uncover the secrets of the 1994 no mint mark penny, let's take a step back. Why would a simple missing mint mark make a coin worth nearly $1 million? To understand that, we need to go back to the origins of this coin and the small mistake that created one of the most lucrative opportunities for coin collectors in modern history. The year was 1994. Bill Clinton was president. The internet was just finding its way into American homes. And the Lincoln Memorial sent the iconic penny had already been in production for over 3 decades. Most pennies minted in 1994 came from either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, each identified by a small letter under the date. But one particular batch of coins left the mint missing something crucial: the mint mark. This tiny omission, invisible to most people's eyes, became a goldmine for those who knew what to look for. You might be thinking, wait, isn't it normal for some pennies to not have a mint mark? Yes, and that's where the confusion begins. Philadelphia minted pennies traditionally lack a mint mark, and that's perfectly normal. But the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny is special because some of these coins were struck using dies meant for proof or special issues. These weren't supposed to end up in circulation at all. And that's what makes them so incredibly rare. Collectors quickly realized something was off. The texture, the shine, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, everything looked too perfect, too crisp. These weren't your average pocket change pennies. They were test strikes or accidental releases meant only for collectors. Somehow finding their way into the wild dot. Now, here's where it gets interesting. For decades, numismatists, that's a fancy word for coin experts, have debated just how many of these 1994 no-mint mark errors exist. Some say only a handful. Others believe fewer than a dozen have ever been verified. And that scarcity is exactly what drives the insane value. In the coin world, rarity equals power. The fewer there are, the more collectors are willing to fight and pay to own one. Fast forward to today, and one of these elusive coins recently made headlines, selling for an astonishing $863,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right. $863,000 for a single penny. Just imagine, a 1-cent coin that could buy you a luxury home, a brand new car, or fund your retirement. It's the ultimate underdog story, the forgotten penny that became a millionaire dashmaker. And here's the kicker. Many people who own one don't even know it. That's right. Some of these rare coins are sitting unnoticed in old collections, change jars, or coin albums in basements and attics across America. So, what if one of them is sitting in your home right now? Before you rush to grab a magnifying glass, let's talk about how to identify this potentially life-changing coin. The first thing you'll want to look for is the date, 1994. Check under the year if there's no letter. That means no mint mark. But don't get too excited yet. You'll need to inspect the details. The true rare specimen will have a sharper strike, a flawless surface, and an almost mirror-like finish on both sides. This isn't your average dull penny that's been tossed around for decades. It looks almost brand new, even if it's 30 years old. Here's a pro tip that most people overlook. Take a close look at the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. On authentic rare versions, the details between the columns are crystal clear. You can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside. If your coin looks this pristine, you might be holding something truly extraordinary. Now, let's inject a bit of humor here, because you might be staring at your change jar right now, squinting through your glasses and whispering, "Could it be?" If your spouse walks by and asks what you're doing, just tell them you're searching for your first 6-figure paycheck in copper form. Who knew financial freedom could be hiding under the couch cushions? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There are plenty of fakes and altered coins out there. Some sellers try to artificially remove mint marks to deceive collectors. This is why professional grading is absolutely essential. Trusted organizations like PCGs or NGC can verify the authenticity and assign a grade that can make or break your coin's value. A verified 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent can easily command 6 figures. And if it's in pristine condition with a perfect strike, the price can skyrocket even higher. So what makes this particular coin so fascinating to collectors? It's not just the rarity. It's the story. Every rare coin has a story behind it, a mysterious error, a production flaw, or a limited release that slipped through the cracks of history. It's like owning a piece of the mint's secret past. You're not just buying metal. You're buying a piece of American history that defied the odds. And here's where the excitement really builds. The coin market today is exploding. More investors and collectors are pouring into the space than ever before. People are realizing that rare coins are tangible assets that often outperform stocks or gold in times of economic uncertainty. And with inflation climbing, tangible wealth is the new frontier. The 1994 no-mint mark penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of possibility. Proof that even the smallest, most overlooked things can hold massive value. But let's be honest, there's also fear. Fear of missing out. Fear that someone else will find the treasure first. Because while you're watching this video, someone out there could be checking their coin jar and discovering a fortune. That's why you can't afford to ignore this. Every day that passes, more of these coins are being found, sold, and locked away in private collections forever. Once they're gone. And the price. It's only going up. Here's something few people talk about. The emotional connection collectors feel toward these coins. For some, it's nostalgia, memories of childhood, saving pennies, or searching through pocket change with a parent or grandparent. For others, it's about legacy, leaving behind something rare, valuable, and enduring. Owning a coin like this isn't just about money. It's about holding a tangible symbol of luck, timing, and history. And if you think this is all hype, consider this. In 2019, a 1943 bronze Lincoln cent sold for over $1 million. A coin worth a single cent, selling for more than a supercar. It's happened before, and it's happening again. The 1994 no-mint mark penny is the next legend in line. You might be wondering, why now? Why is this coin suddenly commanding such enormous prices? The answer is simple. Scarcity meets awareness. With the rise of online auctions, social media, and digital marketplaces, rare coins that were once hidden from the world are being rediscovered. The demand is outpacing the supply, and that's driving prices through the roof. Wealthy collectors and investors are competing fiercely for the best examples, and that's pushing values to historic highs. And here's a little cliffhanger for you. There are whispers in the coin community that a near-perfect mint state specimen of the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent may soon break the $1 million barrier. Yes, a penny worth 7 figures. Imagine what that headline would do to the market. Prices could surge overnight, and those who acted early could see life-changing returns. So what should you do right now? Start looking. Check every penny that passes through your hands. Go through your old coin jars, your drawers, your piggy banks, and those dusty boxes in the attic. You might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. If you find something that looks promising, don't clean it, don't polish it, and don't try to improve it. Just store it safely and have it professionally graded. And if you've been dreaming of financial freedom, of living a life where your money works for you, not the other way around. This could be your moment. The universe doesn't always hand out opportunities this obvious. Sometimes they're disguised as simple copper coins. So, the next time you pick up a penny, don't roll your eyes. Look closer. That tiny piece of metal might just be your key to wealth, independence, and freedom. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that the smallest things can hold the greatest value, and sometimes one lucky find can change your life forever. Who knows? Maybe your story will be the next headline. Ordinary American finds 1994 no mint mark penny worth nearly $1 million. It sounds unbelievable, but it's real. And it's waiting to happen again. So keep your eyes open, your coins close, and your dreams even closer. Because fortune doesn't always knock on the door. Sometimes it jingles quietly in your pocket.